So I want to start out the announcements with Go Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are in the World Series for the first time since 2001. So whether you're a baseball fan or not, it's a good year to pay attention to the Diamondbacks and root them on, especially because they're playing against the Texas Rangers. Nobody likes Texas. So all right, so we're collecting dues for 2024, and I'd like to encourage everybody to give us $20 for the year if you can. It's an election year. We're going to have a lot of expenses. We print up sample ballots for taking on our canvases, and we participate in getting Democrats elected up and down the ballot. So anything you could help us with, we would appreciate and put to good use. You can do that on the website, or you can send us a check, however you want to do it. And we're also selling this fine swag, t-shirts, and I don't have the hat. It's in the garage. The hats, they're $20 separately, $35 if you buy a combo hat and shirt. We do have a few left. All right, we've talked a little bit about the Halloween thing tomorrow night. That's in Casa Grande. It starts at 5:30. If you want to get there a little early and help us with setup, you can. We should have that handled, but as many people as we can get to help us with the games and doing things, the better we'll be. As I said, last year our game people were a little bit overwhelmed with the number of people constantly there. So it'd be nice to let some of them take a little break once in a while. We are for sure in the November 4th Casa Grande Veterans Parade. We could use as many people as possible to join us. And just so everybody's aware on that one, candidates and everybody, they're very strict about everybody staying together. I know the Eloy Fiesta Patrias Parade, we were spread out, and that's fine, and people passing out candy and the candidates shaking hands. This one, they're very strict about keeping everybody in the space that the parade allows us. So just so you're aware of that. But the more people we have holding signs and making us look like there's a lot of us, which there are, the better. So now there's a question. I just today got a request from the city of Eloy. Their Veterans Day parade is November 10th. So we have time to get an application in if we want to participate in that one as well. Again, we want to have a number of people joining us to carry some banners. So, text me, email me, whatever, and say what you think. Should we do it or not do it? It's up in the air. I have not sent the application in, but for sure we are doing the November 4th Casa Grande Parade. Okay, so Deb, if you want to cue up the prepared entertainment, we're going to lead off this section with, some of you have seen this, probably a lot of you have seen it, but if you haven't, this is the video that was put together for the school overrides in Casa Grande and Eloy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Casa Grande voters, we are here today on behalf of Yes for CG Schools to bring you the heavyweight political arm wrestling match we've all been waiting for. The Republicans versus the Democrats. In the red corner, representing the Republican Party and the conservative freedom lovers of Casa Grande, Mr. Boom. In the blue corner, representing the Pinal County Democrats and the Democrat Party, Mr. Rock. Thank you both for being here. Let's go ahead and lock arms. We know why we're here. We're here on behalf of CG Schools. We're here for the children. And we want the best for our children in this community, which is why I say we do not do this anymore. I say we stand up and shake each other's hands and support CG Schools. What do we all say?
I'm Boots Hawk with Conservative Freedom Lovers. I'm here to support the override, the additional funding, which isn't going to cost you even a dime more in taxes. This is to ensure that our children get what they need in school. One of our most important assets is our children, and we need to take care of them. And that's what I'm standing for. Thank you.
I'm Ralph Atcher with the Democrats of Casa Grande. Back in the 50s and 60s, our parents and grandparents invested in America. They built roads, power, grids. They took care of public education. Now it's our turn to pay it forward. Don't shortchange our children because you don't have kids in these public schools. It's time to help invest in Casa Grande. Support this override. It's not going to raise your taxes. It's going to be an investment in our future. Thank you. Join us in voting yes
On Proposition 476 and 478.
Yay! Oh, I love that. Bravo!
All right. I have to take a time out. I see Adrian, you're on. I thought you were coming on later. Do you have a time frame restriction?
No, I mean only until I'm done with my dinner and my drink. But you guys
Okay, finish your dinner and your drink. We've got the override thing up ahead of you.
No, do it. Go. I'm gonna watch.
All right, thanks.
Yeah,
All right. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff and Mike. Whoever wants to lead off, go ahead and get us started.
Well, Ralph, is Mike even on?
Yeah, he's here.
Yes, I am. I'm like you. I'm remote as well. I'm doing this out of my car.
Ralph, Mike, I'm going to take age privilege here and go ahead of you. Because I know you've been hobnobbing with the governor all day, and so your head can't even fit in that car. And so, but welcome to everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight. When I told my wife this was an online thing, then she said, you know what, then we're going to multitask tonight. You're going to do this, and you're going to take me to a nice dinner with the Cardinals. We're in an event for the Big Red Rage tonight for the Arizona Cardinals. So she's in there having a good time, and I'm out here talking to all of you. Ralph, thank you very much for doing that ad. But I have to tell you, Ralph, I'm a little disappointed. I had a $50 bet that you were going to win that arm wrestling match. Do you think you would have won, Ralph? Is Ralph out there?
No doubt about it, Jeff. I would have won. You would have won.
I know
that
you would have, sir.
$50.
But I know you would have really beat him in golf. Just a few words, you know. We're coming down 12 days to ballots have to be in. They have to be in by 7 o'clock on election day. If they're not at the picked up by the elections office at 7 o'clock election day, they're not going to count the ballot. So if you haven't voted yet, please do it. Yesterday, there were 6,300 people that voted. 54% of them were over the age of 65. Another 20% were over the age of 50. And so we know we need to do a last minute push to get our parents out and vote these next 12 days to support this. Rob makes a great argument why people over the age of 50 should be supporting this to pay it forward for the outstanding support that all of us had. For the high school district, this is $3.3 million in funding each year. 10%. We use that money to attract highly qualified staff, to provide our CTE programs, to make sure our students are college and career ready, and developing the next generation of workforce. We use it for school safety. We had a very unfortunate event today at both of our campuses, which I've just had to communicate with parents that there was a weapon in the parking lot. And so schools were, Union, we were shut down for an hour and a half today while we were dealing with that. And then finally, you know, we utilized the money for extracurricular activities. And Ralph talked about the Diamondbacks, but also our CG Cougars are playing tomorrow night for their division championship as well. And looking forward to them going to state. Our CG Cougars girls flag football team lost their state playoff game this Tuesday. But, you know, that's kind of the commercial, and I'm here to answer any questions. But Mike, is there anything you wanted to add from the elementary perspective?
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Ralph, and everyone for the opportunity to be here. I apologize. I'm doing this out of a vehicle. I was outside for work for an event, but it's very important that I'm here. I want to say, Ralph, thank you. On behalf of the Casa Grande Elementary School District Governing Board and just everyone involved in this entire override campaign, for you to go out of your way, dedicate your time to participate in that event and video. It sends a message of not just unity, but willingness to work across the aisle and work together to invest in what's most important. That's our children in this community. So thank you, Ralph, and the Casa Grande Democrats for your support on this. I will say, for our particular override, it's a continuation of a 10%. It amounts to a little bit more on the Casa Grande Elementary School District side, to the tune of $4.65 million. Partially in tune because we are a larger district in terms of student population and things of that nature. So we definitely have a higher overhead cost associated with it. Between our 13 schools and about 6,700 children, this override plays a critical role in funding to ensure we have the teaching staff at ratios that allow for quality instruction for the K-8 environment. It's a little different working with our youngsters, you know, as opposed to high school. It's a little bit easier to be flexible with teachers, maybe have 40, 45 in a class, as it tends to be a little bit more lecture style. But, you know, imagine 45 kindergartners. Think of your kids and grandkids when they were that age. It's just not conducive to a quality learning environment. So having quality staff, having an adequate amount of teachers is essential for a good learning experience for our children. So not only does this provide for our maintenance and operations to ensure we have the best quality pay for our students in the area, or for our teachers in the area, it allows us to continue programming that we've started, that the board has moved forward with, which includes our COIL program for our Center for Online and Innovative Learning, where we now have elementary students back at the Evergreen campus right there off of Treckle, and it allows them to participate in project-based learning. This is career, this is technical training and education that we're giving our youth, to give them opportunities to do things from a curriculum standpoint outside of your traditional classroom experience. Kids are engaged in online and in-person engaging projects, all project-based learning, really preparing students for the careers of tomorrow. These programs are funded by this override. So it's all these little things that add up to really give our students the best possible chance and outcome. So it is critical. It's been on the books since 2000 and 2004 for both of our districts. These past 2 decades, we appreciated the support, and anything you could do to get the word out and get those last voters, it's going to be critical. So with that being said, on behalf of myself, our board, and everyone involved in this campaign, we thank the Casa Grande Democrats. Get out there and vote. If you have any questions, myself and Jeff are more than happy to entertain those.
I just want to interject that we've also been helping as much as we can with canvassing, and Marty Baca, who's on the screen here tonight, last week helped to staff the office in Casa Grande. There are canvasses again in Eloy and Casa Grande this Saturday. There will be phone banking. Robin worked the office, the canvas kickoff in Eloy last Saturday. So we're staying as involved as we can right up through Election Day. So if anybody can spare some time, want to do a little phone banking or door knocking, let me know and we'll get you set up with a list.
Absolutely. Ralph, thank you for that. Thank you for everyone on this call and for all your support.
Debbie, you have a question?
It's more of a comment. And this should be obvious to everyone because it's two separate votes, but some people might not turn their ballot over. And I don't know if that's being talked about. I wrote the shortest letter to the editor I've ever written, and I included that as one line. Be sure to turn your ballot over and vote for 2, because since it's been said that, you know, you guys are working together, somebody might think if they just vote for 1, they're done. So that was just a thought I had. Thank you.
Good point.
And we currently know that 8% of the people voting are not turning the ballot over. And so I'd hate to have a conversation with the Secretary of State about a rigged election. And so that's why we want to make sure everybody comes in and votes.
Thank you.
I love you, Jeff, but that conversation would fall on deaf ears.
At least let him finish his dinner, Jeff. Then we could talk to him about it.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, Jeff and Mike, thanks for all you're doing for the schools. And we look forward to working with you in the future on any issue that you think we could be helpful. You keep us in mind and stay in touch.
Thank you,
Well,
Ralph.
thank
And
you.
if anyone, go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead. No, you go, Mike.
I was just gonna say, Ralph, if anyone on the call or any of your fellow colleagues would like to reach out to me, you have my telephone, my personal cell number, and my personal email. Feel free to distribute that. I'm always available, whether it's with an override or concerns about the schools, anything from the school board perspective. I'm always willing to listen and work together to find the best solutions for a good student outcome. So feel free to pass that number along.
Our members have some ideas on working, and Jeff, you know about this, working in the community, developing some community ties that are important going forward for the school's success and for future bond issues or anything. Community involvement and community ties are important for every school. So we've got some members that are very interested in talking to you about some of those things.
Have them reach out.
And Ralph, one thing, I know Sue Wortman is one of your members. I don't know if she's on tonight, is she?
She is.
So in January, our board is going to be recognizing her late husband, Randy, by dedicating the Olaski, I think I pronounced that right, Center on our CG Union campus in Randy's memory. And I'd like to see and invite all the club that night to come out and support Sue as we honor her husband and Randy for all his years of work. He was an extraordinary educator. He and I started together in '97. He was principal at Union and I was principal at Villago. He had a few more keys than I did, but we had a good time serving together. He's a great man. We miss him dearly. And so we hope you can all come out as we recognize him. And then, Ralph, I know you would have won that arm wrestling match. And I will tell you, 30,000 people have seen that video. But if you guys can continue to share that video, we'd like to get it up to 75,000. We'd like to see if we can get it on CNN. So CNN knows that bipartisanship is not dead, even though they may portray it that way in Washington when they can't even pick a Speaker of the House for 3 weeks. And
so, Jeff, I want to tell you this. My brother, I shared it with him. He is on a school board in the deepest red county in Virginia. And I told people before you came on, he shared it with the entire school board. He shared it with the administrators from all the schools in the district. And it's on their Facebook page, and it's gotten hundreds and hundreds of likes. And what he's done is he said, this is an example of how bipartisanship can work when people come together on an issue. So it is out there outside of Arizona already.
But you know, Ralph, you had to meet him halfway there. And I know you guys have had some arguments over the years and some disagreements, but both of you put your differences aside and went forward. And so Mike and I greatly appreciate it. Mike did a good job announcing it, but I'm going to take credit for designing the commercial in that. And I'm hoping that maybe that might meet my retirement gig and I can step out soon and just do political commercials. So, Mike, what were you doing the governor today?
Oh, we had the Arizona Chamber of Commerce award dinner this evening. So, Lucid Motors was nominated as one of the best products made in Arizona. So I had to go out there and say a few words type of thing.
They stopped laying people off.
Congratulations.
hey, we're bringing a bunch of them back actually right now. So that's a good thing.
Well, Jeff and Mike, thank you. You're more than welcome to stay on. And I know you'd love to hear what our Secretary of State has to say, and our candidate for Pinal County Sheriff. You're welcome to stay. If you need to go, I understand, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. Thanks for being here.
Well, my wife just hit in the head with a chicken wing, so I'm going to need to get going. But we appreciate it, and I look forward to meeting the Secretary of State.
All right.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say, people are looking at me weird in the parking lot here.
All
right. Thank you all. Secretary Fontes, enjoy your dinner, and thank you for what you're doing out there for the state.
Thank you, Mike. Enjoy the chicken wings and say hey to the Big Red for me.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, guys, have a great night.
Thank you. So I know that most of you read the papers, whether it's the local Casa Grande Dispatch or the Arizona Republic, but there has just been a ton of stuff in the paper recently that we're going to hear about, I'm sure, from our esteemed Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes. And Adrian, I'm going to turn it over to you. It looks like you finished your dinner. Thanks so much for being with us.
Super happy to be here, and Casa Grande Democrats, I'm always pleased to speak with Democrats across the state. I'm hoping to chat with you really briefly a little bit, first as your Secretary of State, then I'm going to take that hat off and give you all a little red meat, or in this case, blue meat, as a Democrat. So hang tight. First and foremost, I want to reiterate my gratitude, as usual, for getting me the privilege and the honor of serving as your Secretary of State. It really is great. And I had another amazing day and a half here. Last night I drove down to Tucson and was at the opening reception for the Arizona Preservation Society's big conference that they're having in Tucson, where one of the historians was honored. Sandy Chan was honored for her work with the Chinese community and unearthing a great cultural heritage in downtown Tucson for that community. And then earlier today, at about 8 a.m., I introduced the keynote address to the conference, and that keynote address was sponsored by my office. As you all may know, history is a very, very important part of my office for me. I love that stuff, and participating in those things is a big deal for me. And was excited to be at the induction for the 2023 class of the Arizona Women's Hall of Fame this afternoon, helping present those awards to some really amazing women who have served the state of Arizona from Bisbee to Phoenix to Yuma, helping with all kinds of great stuff. So it's been a heck of a ride this last day and a half, and we're not done. We're getting ready to do a whole bunch of other stuff, including an invitation that I have from the Senate Rules Committee in Washington, D.C. I'll be testifying there soon. That has to remain, quote unquote, unofficial until they lock the schedule down. But that's pretty much where I'm going to be in about a week and a half. Oh, no, wait, that's next week. Time flies. And we're doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm super excited about where we're at, making sure that folks are doing the things they need to do to administer these elections that you all have been talking about all over the place. By the way, just as a matter of local interest for you, on my way back between Tucson and Phoenix, I found this great little cafe in a town you guys may have heard of. It's called Creative Cafe. And I had a nice little sandwich with the what did I have? The sweet potato fries, I think. And so you guys got it made down there. I love that place for lunch once in a while. As y'all may know, my partner, Nicole, works in Casa Grande. So when I get a chance to see her and steal her away for a minute, we go have lunch. So I had the good fortune to do that. As far as the office is concerned, we've got the elections procedures manual draft out. We're actively meeting with the governor and the attorney general's office to lock in on any of those changes that might need to be made. The final meeting of the governor's task force on elections was had just a few days ago. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the governor couldn't stay past her opening remarks, but we ended up doing the work and finishing up, having a great session there with some great recommendations, many of which we're already working on. My office was just kind of watching the conversations, and we're like, that's a good idea. And I campaigned on that. Let's do that too. So where we could, we've already started, and we're hoping we can get some money and some legislation to help us with some of those other bits and pieces. I am in the news. I think somebody mentioned news stuff, so I'll just kind of riff on a couple things. Number one on the bingo card with Democrats is usually no labels. Well, I've been battling back and forth with the No Labels Party, and one of the things that they've done is insisted that they are not going to be fielding any candidates in the August primary elections because they only want to run a presidential candidate. And they've been telling me the whole time that they don't need to file. They can't. They're trying to prohibit candidates from running and all this other kinds of stuff. And I made a statement the other day, and I'm like, no, that's not true. They lied to the Arizona voters when they said that they wanted to form a party and took out the application for petitions, and then B, had the 37,000 voters sign the petitions to become a party under the rules. Both of those documents talk about the August primary, which is every office but the presidency. And they're insisting that they want to prohibit. And I'm like, the DNC can't stop any Democrat from running for an office. The RNC can't stop any Democrat running for an office. In fact, the state parties are going to have a hard time stopping anybody who actually qualifies for office. So no labels today. In a deft little move, and very, very quietly registered a state party where they had insisted that they didn't want to have a state party in writing on TV. So we know that they're full of shit. But if they follow the rules, then we're going to apply the rules. And so, here we go. Who knows what they're going to end up doing, but we are going to make sure that they are following the rules if that's something that they want to pretend to do. Moving forward, we've got some other things that we're looking at doing. One of them is getting $250,000 out of HAVA money, which is Federal Help America Vote Act money. It's unpredictable money, which is hard to deal with because it's not sustainable or sustained funding. It goes up and it goes down depending on which year and how Congress feels about things. But we're looking to get $250,000 out of some of the money that we've already received to do a democracy core thing. 6 counties in Arizona have already indicated they want to participate. Basically, what it means is we're going to create paid fellowships. We're going to pay the stipend. We're going to pay for housing. And we're going to send community college and university students to St. John's, to Holbrook, to Kingman, to Bisbee, to a lot of our more remote, Clifton, a lot of our more remote counties who don't have big population centers and a lot of folks to draw from, so that we can do 2 things. A, create that work pipeline of potential civil servants who will be able to work in elections in the future, and B, and more importantly, actually fill in some of the gaps, because as you know, we are missing a lot of election officials in Arizona, and these folks will be taking care of a lot of the make work stuff, a lot of just the basic repetitive things, college entry level sort of stuff. So we're already working ahead. It's going to be a bumpy road. 2024 is going to be bumpy. And this little trial run that we're doing right now with our jurisdictional elections is really testing some systems with a lot of new people. You've got new people in Pinal County doing a lot of your election stuff behind the scenes. They've got new people all over the state. And I'll be very, very blunt. I'm worried. I'm worried about 2024 because of the lack of resources, because of the threats, because of the people that have left, and because of the fact that the governor and the legislature did not give me the budget that I wanted so that we could start actually planning ahead starting 1 July, many, many months ago. And we've had to scrape and scrimp, and we're behind. We are behind the 8 ball. And so I'm not going to play games with anybody. I don't care what your politics are, whether you're, a Democrat or a Republican. Our state government has not funded elections administration the way it should have, and we're falling short on our budget, and they're going to cut us more. And so, anybody that thinks that 2024 elections are going to be perfect, better start lighting candles, because we're going to see a bumpy road. We're going to work as much as we can to make things work really well. And we need you. We need you to inform voters. We need you to make sure that the folks who you serve understand the rules. We need to make sure that independent voters know they cannot vote in a presidential preference election. And if only the Republicans are running, then Democrats do not need to be involved in that, because that kind of confusion that happens on election day is the sort of stuff that got me into the office in the first place when Maricopa County screwed up so bad. So that's just a real quick hit on what's happening at the office. Oh, by the way, our business services stuff is going gangbusters. Real quickly, I met with some folks from the British Embassy. We've been meeting with folks from different international delegations. I myself, as you may know, I was in Taiwan not too long ago, trying to figure out better ways to build more business connectivity. And I'm trying to get a nonstop daily from Phoenix to Taipei, because I'll tell you what, y'all want a great place to go vacation and have a really, really, really great time in a place that's safe and inexpensive and seems very familiar, but is totally foreign? Go to Taipei. It is the most Chinese American city you'll ever see in the world. Lots of the folks there speak English, but mostly everybody speaks Mandarin. It's really phenomenal. So there's my little rah-rah shish boom ba for the Republic of China, also known as Taiwan. Okay, so let me take off the Secretary of State hat and put on my Arizona Democrat hat. And I want to say, hey, welcome, friends, to trying to fund schools completely through bonds and overrides now from the political right. Where the hell have you been for the last several decades while you've been slashing school funding, slashing teachers' pays, making sure that we can't provide the programs that students need to fully develop, like full sports programs, full art programs, full music programs, after school care for their young ones, fully funded Head Start. Where have you guys been? So all of a sudden, you know, our friends on the political right want to become heroes because they're helping to pass an override that is sorely needed, and we need their help. And I'm super glad that they're here. But let's not pretend like these guys are champions, okay? They see the doom and gloom coming, and they see that the public is completely against what is one of their philosophical underpinnings, and that is being cheap on schools and taking that money and shoving it into private enterprises like charter schools and public school and private schools. I'm not okay with that. I am absolutely not okay with that. So unless the Republican Party is shifting completely and they're going to start doing what they need to do to actually fully fund schools so that we don't have to have overrides, so that we don't have to be running up against a fiscal cliff every 2 seconds, then I'll think that it's genuine. I'm happy that they're on board now, but it's because the people have been pressuring them, and their political views and that system of values that they have, quote unquote values, is not successful politically. It's a great example of how we are right when it comes to school funding. And the political left has always been better and has always been more consistent with the way the American public has seen public schools. The American public loves public schools. Arizona's have voted down vouchers I don't know how many times. And yet these guys are willing to nearly bankrupt the state for unlimited vouchers. And now they're going to jump on board because they know that our schools have to be funded. And this is the vehicle that they're going to hitch their wagon to. So yeah, welcome to the party real late. And we hope you guys will have learned your lesson. The notion of starving public schools is insanity. And Arizona's voters don't like it. So let's welcome them into this fight. Let's bring them in. And let's let them learn that it is a lesson in how to listen to the public, how to listen to parents, how to listen to communities who care about public schools, who want to have that investment, and not wait until we're up against it. They're panicking because they know this is the last bite at the apple. If this does not pass, the schools in Casa Grande are screwed. You know it, and they know it. And they know that it's their policies that have screwed the schools in Casa Grande. So let's not pretend for 1 second that these guys are heroes. They are compromising a little bit. But, you know, Ralph, let me tell you something. You didn't compromise at all. You're just being nice, cooperating with these guys. Accountability matters. And I don't give a tinker's darn if they get grumpy because I'm not being nice to them. I don't care about their feelings. They haven't cared about teachers' pay for a long time. They haven't cared about maintaining good school facilities for a long time. And all of a sudden, when they're right up against the cliff, they want to jump on board and get a lot of credit. I'm sorry. We'll take their help, but we have to hold them accountable as well. And it's not just on schools. It's on guns, too. I know the Secretary of State in Maine. What has happened up there is clear evidence of the fact that we have got to stop pretending like we can worship at the altar of the AR-15 and that's going to save our kids and that's going to save our communities. We have to act on guns and we have to be unapologetic about it because guess what? Just like schools, guns are also those sorts of things that people want. We just want red flag laws. We just want universal background checks. And we just want an assault weapons ban like we've already had in this country. And we didn't lose our freedoms. The government didn't come down and in some tyrannical way strip everybody of the capacity to do whatever. But you know what did happen? Crime rates went down. Murder rates went down. And we all felt a lot safer. So let's stop pretending like these guys are being kind. And oh, by the way, still with the political hat on, I'm not speaking as the Secretary of State right now. Did you guys see what happened recently in a city in Kentucky? I think it was yesterday. A city that went 24% more for Donald Trump in 2020. All of the MAGA council and mayor just got swept out of office by Democrats. Across the United States of America, if you look at congressional special elections, state office special elections, and county office special elections and municipals, just like the one I just talked about, Democrats are outperforming the Republicans by 12%. What that means, and that's an average of 12%. In many places, it's a lot higher. What does that mean? What's the, Ralph, what's the percentage difference for Democrats and Republicans in Casa Grande? there in Pinal County. You're muted. You're muted, Ralph.
I don't know about Casa Grande specifically, but in Pinal County, there are now more independents than either Republicans or Democrats. Democrats are in third.
Yeah, but guess what? D plus 12 is gonna, if the averages hold, it's D plus 12. And if it's averaging out in Pinal County like it is in Arizona, and Democrats are at 29%, right? If we get 29% of the vote plus 12 on an average, guess what?
Yeah.
We're
well,
great.
For the first time in about 30 years, Pinal County elected a Democrat state representative, Keith Seaman.
And there's going to be more. And there's going to be more. But it's got to require work now, right now. Get that organizing pattern fixed up now. Start talking to all those folks, your neighbors, the people that you are PC to in your precinct. You should know who all of them are right now. You should be knocking on every single door, making every single phone call. And I know you guys are working your tails off for this bond and override. Don't let it stop in November. Call them again in December and wish them a happy holiday from the Democratic Party. Call them again in early January and wish them a happy new year. Call them again in February and wish them a happy statehood day. And if you really like them, ask them to be your Valentine. And then call them again in March and wish them a happy St. Patrick's Day if they're Irish. And if they're not, who gives a shit? Wish them a happy St. Patrick's Day anyway. Make those relationships real. Make the relevancy of the Democratic Party real through you, the individual person, you, the PC, you, the one who they're going to be communicating with. Because guess what? When the garbage doesn't work, or when they need a buddy needs an inspection for a swimming pool and they need a connection to the government, when some other random thing happens, they can contact their representative at the Democratic Party. They can contact their PC, and you'll be able to connect them to their government, because that's the utility that the Democratic Party needs to have. We need to be that resource day in and day out for our community members. We need to be those folks who are willing to provide, because if we are, when it comes to voting time, those folks that are undecided, they're going to come to us. They're going to come to our candidates. They're going to come to you for advice. And that's going to help Democrats up and down the ballot. It's going to help keep Joe Biden in the White House. It's going to help get Ruben Gallego elected to the U.S. Senate. It's going to help us finally get an operating majority for Katie Hobbs, so she can actually do something other than veto stuff. I mean, for God's sakes, put this veto stamp down and get some stuff done. But she can't do it unless we give her a majority. So you got Keith, get another one. Get a senator. You guys can do this. We can do this across the state. So I've gone on and on. I'm going to open it up for questions real quick. Please ask me the questions. I'll go rapid fire as quick as we can. And look, bottom line is this. Never, never, never forget why we are doing this. The bond and override's easy. You can say because of the kids. All of those other things also go down to the future as well. The MAGA Republicans are burning books in Missouri. They're literally blowtorching books in Missouri. They're finding ways to stop people from traveling to get abortions if necessary. They're absolutely capturing people in this Christo-fascist bullshit fantasy that they've made up for themselves. And that is not what Americans want. And it is incumbent on us to make sure our voters know what the rules are so that they can have their ballots counted, to make sure that they know what the timelines are so they don't miss their opportunity to exercise that constitutional right. You guys are the key to making it happen. I believe in you. I trust you. You guys are going to really do what we need done out there as Democrats, and you're going to help us win to turn Arizona blue and keep it blue, for God's sakes, because the alternative is just unthinkable. So I'm ready to answer some questions, Ralph. If they're in the chat, somebody read them.
All right. So, Adrian, I don't know if we've had a more informative and inspiring speaker in quite a while. I want to start with that. You're terrific. And can you please pass along my personal thanks to Nicole for helping get this set up?
Hold on a second. You can do it yourself. She's right here. She's like, I don't think she feels like she's camera ready, but she's right here.
Hey, Rob. Guys,
thank you very much.
School district. Obviously, I'm out of my capacity right now as a school district administrator. But again, it's the not only voting for yourself, but the biggest thing that we found when we did polling was we were expecting 75% of voters to be over the age of 50 and actually 50% to be over the age of 65, with 80% not having kids at home. Additionally, the biggest thing we found was the pre and post polling question was, as soon as we said, this doesn't raise taxes, it goes to teachers, it goes to special education, it goes to these items, we had a 13% swing in the 65 and up from no to yes. And that's what we need. So just if you're in retirement communities or you have neighbors, the grocery store, churches, wherever, please, 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 please reiterate, it's just getting the ballots dropped off. Sorry, I'm back to school districts, but yes. So thank you.
Thanks for your help.
Who's the luckiest secretary in the United States of America? Thanks.
I've got two, and you can answer these as briefly and quickly as you can, but I've got two Secretary of State kind of questions from what I saw in the newspaper recently. First, should we be worried about Dropbox deployment across the state for ballots? And second, I've heard that there's some problems with the new manual with curing signatures in some of the counties.
So the answer to the first question is there's an active bit of litigation out there regarding the drop boxes, so I'm not going to comment any further on that one. The answer to the second one is this. No, there aren't going to be any issues. I think that there's a lot of folks out there who are misinterpreting what we put out. If there are any significant issues that the governor or the attorney general see, they might tweak things a little bit. But look, we're following the rules. You guys know where I stand on everything. And I want people to think about something when they start questioning the work that comes out of my office. Okay? Let's pretend for a second that you don't hear a word that's ever come out of my mouth. And hard to believe, but let's pretend that for 1 second. Okay? Look at my track record. Look at the work that I did in Maricopa County and the work that I've done so far. Understand that I know what I'm doing, and my staff is expert, way beyond me. We are hoping that people will look past what some of our little chirpers are saying, even on the very, very far left, God bless them, and knowing that what we are building is an elections procedures manual that is not only beyond reproach and consistent with state law, but will survive any challenges because we want it to not have to be in suspense because of litigation from either side of the aisle. We want it to last because it's for our election administrators. It's for the folks who are doing the job. And by the way, the first draft, so it's the last thing in the world you want a politician to say, trust me, but let's just pretend I just said that. The one last point on this one, the citizen engagement manual or citizen engagement pamphlet, whatever we're going to call it, is in draft form right now, very rough draft. It's going to talk about how you register to vote from the voter's perspective, right? Make it easier for you all to get out there and see what those rules are. It's going to talk about running for office as a candidate. What do you got to do? Creating a new political party, starting an initiative, if that's what you and an organized group wants to do. This is going to be for you. It's also going to explain all the early voting systems, all of our election certification systems, and a lot of the other things that are not in the elections procedures manual, so that citizens can see specifically how things work. So we're going to move the elections procedures manual back into the background where it belongs for the election administrators, and we're going to give everybody else sort of the stuff that they've always been looking for in an easy to read manual that's really built for the general public. Okay, those were two quick answers to your questions. What else we got?
All right, we got Marty wants to know how an insurrectionist named Donald Trump could be on the ballot for president in Arizona.
Phenomenal question, and I'll explain it really quickly. There is that Section 3 in the 14th Amendment that says that if you aid and abet in the attempted overthrow of the Constitution, you can't run or you can't be an official. I get that. I've read it. I've studied it. And I've also looked at Section 1, which is the Privileges and Immunities Clause in the 14th Amendment. And I've also looked at Article 4 of the Constitution, which is the full faith and credit clause. That means that the state of Arizona has to give full faith and credit to any ruling or any action by another state. If you get married in Idaho, you're married in Arizona. If you get divorced in Texas, you're divorced in Arizona. It doesn't matter. Full faith and credit requires that. And the privileges and immunities that apply to the individual also cross state lines. That having been said, and you combine those two things with the fact that a statute in Arizona law tells me and basically orders me that if 2 other states put somebody on the ballot for president, I don't have a choice. I have to put that person on the ballot for president. That means that my discretion to invoke Article 3 or Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is non-existent. Add to that the Privileges and Immunities Clause and the Full Faith and Credit Clause, and I just can't do anything about it. I am handcuffed by the law. Is that dissatisfactory? Yes. Do we wish it was otherwise? I mean, yeah, but I got to follow the law. That's why I took an oath. That's why you guys backed me up. You did not want me bending the law for political purposes, even our own. And so I won't.
Anyone else have a question? That was the only one that was. Oh, there's another one in the chat. The petitions that have the rules that you can't go out of the box. Oh, those the strict compliance petitions. Can that only be changed legislatively? Those rules?
No, sue. Somebody sue me and make me put all of that stuff on equal. If we had initiatives on equal, the way that like I got on the ballot, the way that Carrie Lake got on the ballot, the way that Katie Hobbs got on the ballot, the way that all the legislators get on the ballot, like why can't we do that for initiatives? I think it's a violation of the 14th Amendment, the Due Process Clause, which is also in the 14th Amendment, right? I think it's a violation of due process. If you can put a politician on the ballot, like checking a box on the internet, why can't you put an initiative on the ballot? Doing the exact same thing. It's a petition is a petition is a petition. We've got 2 totally separate standards for the First Amendment right to petition for the redress of grievances. And the way we administer them are cattywampus. They're totally different. Why does that make sense? Sue me. Let's fix it. I mean, not literally sue me. I mean, that's a hypothetical, you know.
All right, that question came from Noel Rack.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's just be honest. It's dumb. And it could take a legislative change, obviously. But I think it's unconstitutional. I think it's totally unconstitutional, but nobody has really ever challenged it successfully. So let's see what happens.
All right, anyone else?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, like in the Marine Corps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're done. You're looking at Ed.
Thank you very much. You were terrific. Hope you'll come back again sometime. And as I said, informative and inspiring. Hard to combine those two, but you did it.
Nicole says good night, everyone. And I tell you what, you guys go to Creative Cafe, have lunch. And I have to tell you guys, you have Casa Grande Elementary School District absolutely has the best looking CFO in the state of Arizona. Without I'll see you guys later. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Fontes.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was pretty good. Right. We're going to shift gears right now and bring on our candidate for Pinal County Sheriff, Patrick Melvin. Are you ready to go, Patrick?
No, I'm not actually, because well, how can you follow such a dynamic?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But yes, I'm ready.
All right, take it away.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, everyone. Good evening, and it's an honor and pleasure to be here. I know we're kind of short on time, but I just wanted to give an update on where we are. As of 5 o'clock today, I am still the most competent, qualified, and most experienced candidate for sheriff of Pinal County. So just wanted to pass that on. Nothing has changed as far as that's concerned. As far as the ballot signatures, you know, I was really excited when we had equal. The Secretary of State talked about that. We are about 25% of where we need to be as far as the ballot signatures, with people not staying within the line, et cetera. Something, I think, and I got the heads up already, they're going to be challenging our signatures, but we're about 25% now. And if we average about 200 signatures per month until they're due, that's great. Now, they haven't told us what our numbers are going to be, but I imagine if we average about 200 signatures a month up until that time, I think we'll be okay. Also, if you haven't been to my website, it's listed right there, chiefmelvinforsheriff.com or melvinforsheriff.com. You can go right at the first part of the website on the very first page at the top. You can click on that, and you can sign my petition to get on the ballot. And you know what? Tell a friend so that they can sign it too. As last I checked, we had under 100 signatures on there, and that is one of the best things we can do right now, is so that you don't. I definitely love the wet signatures, but we can get a lot of signatures real quick by just pass that on and going online. The latest news reference the campaign. As you have seen in the news lately, some people in the sheriff's office seem to think that they can improperly spend money belonging to the inmates on weapons and guns and other things. Someone told me one time it may be lawful, but it sure is awful. We're still trying to determine if it's lawful or not, but that is just gives some credence to us getting into office and performing an audit to make sure that our funds, people's funds, are going to the right places. And just on its surface, and I'm not on the inside, but it just does not seem right what is happening over there. Another thing is happening. We're getting endorsements. We have one endorsement that we're really excited about. I can't announce it yet because they haven't confirmed yet, but I tried to get that information before this meeting tonight. But that's one of the biggest endorsements that any law enforcement professional can get in the state of Arizona. So we're working on that. As far as the update on the campaign, we are, again, the signatures, that's a big deal. But we're also right in the last part of finalizing our campaign manager. We hope to have that person officially on board November 1st, so that's only a few days from now. Also, we are looking for a director of finance. So I know I've talked to a couple of you about that. If you have a friend or have someone that's able to assist in that regard, I'm looking forward to that also. So for the next 90 days, the main focus is getting signatures, going to as many events that I can go to. Last Saturday, I was in Eloy with Debbie. Did I see that? Yeah, Debbie. Or excuse me, Robin. I was there in Robin, and I did not know that minivan app. It was so awesome. Oh my goodness. I talked to my campaign manager that's supposed to be starting, and I said, we got to get that. That app was absolutely unbelievable, and it helps with the directed contact with our voters. Ralph was talking about earlier that we're in third place as far as the Democrats. We got to have that directed contact with our voters, and that's going to be my emphasis for the next several months, the next 90 days. I was talking to Ralph about and first of all, let me just say this. I consider myself adopted by the Casa Grande Democrats, so thank you for adopting me. I appreciate it. You don't know how much that means to me, but I appreciate you guys just take me on and supporting me. But Ralph was talking about the need. We're in third place as far as the voters in Pinal County. Independents leading off, Republicans second, and then we're third. So it's going to be really incumbent upon us. If you have community events out there, I'll be there tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening in Casa Grande, also at the harvest, the Thanksgiving harvest, or excuse me, the Halloween harvest event. But if you have events, I'm making a list of all of the school board meetings, the supervisors meetings, everything. If you know of meetings that I can go and for the call to the public speak for a few minutes, please get that information to me, because the more contacts I make, the more I get my face out there, the better off we'll be when it comes to vote time. I've been told already that there's some people, we're definitely going to be, depending on our Democrats and independents, but there's some other people out there that have told me that when it comes to time for the general, if I'm so fortunate to get on the ballot, that they're going to be putting support our way too. So it's incumbent upon me to get out there. So if you know of any community events around the county, please let me know. And I would love to talk to those people and talk to the groups so that we can get our names out there. Let's see here. Endorsements. I talked about the one endorsement that I'm trying to get. Just let you know, just to reiterate, I am running for sheriff because we need to rise to the challenge of professional policing, especially here in the 21st century. It's been kind of quiet on the other side over there. I heard another rumor, but I'm not jumping to the rumor thing right now. But there's a lot of information going out there right now. There's 2 people that have signed up on the other side. My opposition, and that's what we are making sure that we have the right team, the right strategy, so that we can take over the office. The Secretary Fontes was talking about making Pinal County blue. We definitely want to make it blue, especially at the sheriff level. I'm a true believer that there's no partisanship in public safety, but we can't get in there and make the changes unless we get elected and we get inside of there. So that's where we're going right now. Just want to say I appreciate all the volunteers out there who are getting signatures for me. I was in Florence at Nancy's house the other day picking up signatures. Thank you, Nancy. I just appreciate Candy. She mentioned earlier that we're having an event on January 13th. Please mark your calendar. Thank you, Candy, for that. And I just want everyone to know that we are working hard to try to win over the support of not only you guys, but also throughout the county. I'm not running against Sheriff Lamb, but I'm running against what he's done to the sheriff's office. And it doesn't seem to stop. I know he's running for another office, but he's continuing to just do stuff that is just detrimental to not only public safety, but to the welfare and safety of our residents here in Pinal County. 3 things I'm running on, and that is my pillars are proactive law enforcement crime strategies, 21st century policing. That's very important. I want the deputies to be high performing, highly trained, highly experienced, and definitely treating everyone with dignity, respect, and professionalism. And speaking of professionalism is going to be at the core of all we do. Community-based policing, accreditation in policing, that's very important. That keeps us on track. And that's one of the main areas I want to do. If you want accountability, you want personal accountability, and you want a sheriff that's holding himself accountable, I'm your sheriff. If you want professional policing in Pinal County, I'm your guy, treating everyone with respect and professionalism. And if you want a proactive thinking, sheriff treating all the residents with professionalism, I'm your person that leads from the front. I don't really like to get into what the other candidates or my opposition does or does not have, but I will tell you this. There's no one in this race who has the amount of experience, amount of time in the seat. And when I say in the seat, I'm meaning at the CEO level of a law enforcement agency. I have over 12 years of law enforcement police chiefing experience in 3 different agencies. As you know, we have 4 different tribes, native tribes that are around our county. And I've also been a tribal police chief. So it's going to be very important. And that's the stuff we have to get out. That's why we have to get that information out, to let everyone know that why settle for mediocrity when you can have a sheriff that's professional and competent and experienced. So that's what, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're trying to get the word out. We're trying to get the word out that we are ready. We are prepared to take over day one. But before we can take over day one, we got to get the signatures, and we have to get around the county and show everyone that we have a competent, qualified, and experienced person to be the sheriff of Pinal County. Are there any questions that I may answer from anyone?
So Patrick might have been a little too humble to mention this, but I'm going to do it for him. Patrick cannot get elected unless he raises some money. He needs signatures to get on the ballot, but to get the word out, to get the messaging out, there is no substitute in today's election system for money. The Merrill Ranch event in January that Candy and her group is doing, that's a fundraiser. Let's be upfront about what we're trying to do here. We're trying to raise money. I want to put something together in our local area. I'm waiting for Patrick to finish his plans and give me a date on what Maricopa, the city of Maricopa, is doing, because they're putting together an event there. I want to put one together here in the Casa Grande, Eloy, Arizona City area. We need to raise some money. So just want to make sure everybody understands that that is a priority in especially a countywide election.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ralph. And yes, I did fail to mention that. And folks, you're absolutely right. It takes money to win. I tell you what, it takes money to win. I was just at the printing office the other day for printing materials for future yard signs, all of that stuff. And then on top of that, my opposition, they have treasure chests already. As you know, the sheriff is endorsing a lieutenant on the sheriff's office. He already has some money going there. The other supervisor or the other person is a supervisor. He's got a treasure chest. We need to, the bottom line is, folks, it costs money to win, and I appreciate your support. We're going to need your support, and tell a friend, tell a friend. We've been fortunate so far that we started off okay, but we need to go gangbusters, if you will, to raise the money. Thank you, Ralph, for that commercial.
Now, tomorrow, make sure you bring some literature that we can use to get the word out. I looked at the message that Keith Seaman sent me, and basically it's go on Equal, sign my petition, send me some money, and unfortunately he can't be here today, but he'll be tomorrow evening. And if you have any questions, email him or text him, and he does respond. He's very responsive. He's working hard, and we need to make sure we get Keith re-elected to the state legislature. I just want to make sure I got that in. Any questions for Patrick?
Yeah, can I say one thing? And Noel, I see you. Also, if you go to the website, it's right there. You can donate right there and tell a friend they can go right there. melvinforsheriff.com or chiefmelvinforsheriff.com. And just so real quickly, the reason why we got both of those websites, chiefmelvinforsheriff.com, I want everyone to know that our sheriff is an experienced chief of police, not someone who is just throwing their hat in the ring for the heck of it. We are actually qualified and competent to be there. So Chief Melvin for Sheriff, you can go to that website and donate. Thank you, sir. And Noel, I think, was next.
Yeah, I know you said you weren't running against Sheriff Lamb, but I just wanted to throw this out there. At the last Board of Supervisors meeting, when he was explaining his expenditures, he went on to ask the board to explore if comments made at the call to the public could be considered electioneering, and thus subject to the 75-foot limit, and thus no ability to make comments there at the call to the public. So much for freedom of speech. So I think it's just a good example of what we're losing, thank God, and why we need you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Noel. I appreciate that. And I want to call you Coach every time I see you, but thanks, Coach. I appreciate that.
All right. Anyone else? All right, so just a quick reminder, tomorrow night, if you can make it and give us a hand, we would appreciate it. November 4th, we're going to be in the Casa Grande Parade, and Debbie put up in the chat, it's at 10 a.m. On Saturday, November 4th. We meet at Florence and Brown, or Jimmy Kerr and Brown, isn't it? It's not, if you go down Jimmy Kerr and you go to Brown, you turn right and you'll find it. And then let me know if you think we should do the November 10th in Eloy. We will be sending out, I had a note on this that I was saving for the end, but Jeff Lavender mentioned it. So the building dedication for Randy Wortman, we will be sending out a notice for that. I'd like to get a big group of us out there so we can support Susie and show how much we remember and appreciate the work that both she and Randy did to help Casa Grande schools and what they mean to our group. So we'll be getting that out as well. I made a note, I'm going to contact Lisa Sainer and Murdoch Holloway and talk about getting a lawsuit started on the ballot initiative process. I always thought that was strictly a legislative function, but no, great question, and we'll see if we can get something going on that. November meeting, we switch gears because the fourth Thursday, which we usually use as our meeting date, and Susie, thank you for reminding me I had the wrong date in there. It's the third Thursday. It's November 16th. Same time, same station. I'm not going to tell you who the speaker is. I'm going to keep it a mystery, but it's going to be somebody that you're really going to enjoy hearing from, and you'll want to make sure you mark your calendar for 6:30 November 16th. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about, ask about, complain about? We're still looking for an in-person place. You know, I have to admit, I didn't fill out the application for the library. There's a possibility that they'll let us in because we are technically not a part of the Democratic Party, even though our club name is Democrats of Casa Grande. We are, you know, a couple of years ago, they changed the relationship of these clubs with the party. We are a PAC. We are not officially an entity of connected with the Democratic Party. So as a PAC, we might be able to get the library as a meeting place. We just can't fundraise there. So we're still looking for an in-person place. Debbie, you had a...
Oh, I just wanted to throw something out for people who are volunteering for the parade. Excuse me, for tomorrow night for the Halloween Harvest Festival. If you don't get there before 5 o'clock, you're going to be locked out until 5:30. So if you want to volunteer, it was in the print that Ani sent out. Come before 5 or wait. You're not going to get until 5:30. You'll just be waiting outside the gate.
And you're not going to be able to get a parking spot in that close-up first spot. We only have one pass, and Noel is getting that for his truck. So, any other questions, comments? All right, go Diamondbacks. Thanks for being here, and hopefully we see you in the very near future. And send us some money, and send Patrick some money. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.